The Ohio Chamber of Commerce proudly brings you another episode of Down to Business, a podcast that elevates the voices of business, community, and thought leaders, aiming to empower you and your business. That's why we're here, to aggressively champion free enterprise, economic competitiveness, and growth for the benefit of all Ohioans. Now, without further ado, it's time to get down to business.
Welcome to the Down to Business podcast, where we dive deep into the heart of Ohio's business landscape. I'm Matt MacLaren, the Director of Travel and Tourism for the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, and today I'm going to guide you through the stories, strategies, and successes that shape our state's vibrant economy. Whether you're an entrepreneur, business leader, or just someone curious about the dynamic world of Ohio business, you're in the right place. And today we're talking about tourism, and we're talking with Ginger Clark, manager of the Great Miami Riverway. Ginger, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Matt, for having me on today.
Oh, it's so great to have you on. I know that much of our audience is excited to hear more about the Great Miami Riverway, not only all the details about what it is, but also about its economic impact in the state. The state of Ohio, tourism plays a major part in the economy with $56 billion in visitor spending each year. Tourism in the state of Ohio draws people here not only to visit, but once they visit Ohio, they realize how great of a place it is to live, to work, to raise a family, and it helps our population grow. And that's especially true for areas that have both an outdoor feel to them that draws visitors in, but then also appeals to residents. That's one of the things I like the most about the Great Miami Riverway. It does both. It serves the residents and it draws visitors in. Ginger, why don't you tell us more about the Great Miami Riverway and what it is?
Well, sure. So I have the unique privilege of coordinating multi-jurisdictional efforts along our river corridor. We work to promote, protect, and enhance this incredible natural resource that we have in the Great Miami River. My role is really about bringing people together, though, and whether that's helping communities collaborate on trail projects, coordinating regional events, or working with businesses to leverage our river assets. And the idea behind our coalition is that we are stronger when we work together. And what I really like about my job is every day is different, and that's what makes my position so exciting. We might be working with an environmental educator one day and an economic development professional the next. But to your point, the Great Miami Riverway is more than 99-mile corridor that connects communities from Sydney down to the great parks of Hamilton County. It's not just a river, though. It's a connector of people, places, and opportunities. We have approximately 93 miles of connected paved recreation trail, which is called the Great Miami River Recreation Trail. We have numerous river access points and vibrant riverfront developments in our communities.
You know, I've had a chance to see the Great Miami River and be on it on many of the destination points that are part of those 99 miles. It really goes all the way on the west side, west-southwest side of the state of Ohio. With such a large, you said 93 of connected pavement trails and 99 of the riverway itself, that has to have a pretty big economic impact for the area.
Absolutely. The economic impact is substantial. So our riverfront amenities attract and retain talent in the region. It supports property values and it drives tourism. And we've seen communities transform the riverfronts from industrial spaces to vibrant gathering places with parks, restaurants, events, and recreation opportunities. And when businesses look to locate and expand in our region, quality of life amenities are a major selling point. We have an economic impact of tourism report done every other year. We've been having that done since 2017 by Oxford Economics. And our last report, which covers 2023, the collective economic impact of the Great Miami Riverway was $1.2 billion. And the really exciting thing about that is that's a 55% increase from the first study we had done in 2017.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Did I hear that right? $1.2 billion in economic impact annually from all the activity along the Great Miami Riverway.
Yep, you heard that right. Visitors are spending $710 million annually in our communities, and tourism supports nearly 11,000 jobs and generates $140 million in tax revenue every year. It's been really exciting to watch the momentum behind the Riverway grow, and I'm looking forward to seeing our numbers for 2025.
You know, I was just out there. You had a wonderful event, the Great Miami Riverway Summit in Miamisburg, Ohio, and I had not been to Miamisburg in a couple of years. And coming back to see this new amphitheater park area that was built right along the river was fantastic. But then I noticed several new businesses that opened up in the downtown area along the park. Is that the type of growth that you're talking about when you see these year studies and see how much, well, the visitor spending is growing?
Yes, absolutely. So that's been pretty typical of what we've been experiencing every time a community invests in the riverfront. So obviously with Riverfront Park in Miamisburg, you saw that we had several businesses and their downtown is thriving, just several new businesses. And then Lock 9 Park in Piqua opened last year. They had their ribbon cutting in July, and we've seen so much development in that area since then. We had an incubator space that went in and several new businesses that popped up almost immediately after they opened that park. And the Crooked Handle Brewing Company that's right there at the park is just thriving. And Piqua is just seeing like an economic renaissance happening all up and down their downtown area and the river corridor.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And that's kind of what makes my job working in the tourism side of business for the Chamber fun. Because when we get to talk about businesses, we're talking about things like the Crooked Handle. Did I say that right? Crooked Handle Brewing Company, new coffee shops, bike shops, kayak shops. All right, we get the fun part of economic activity.
That's right. Yes, and I think we're going to see more of that happening with West Carrollton putting in their whitewater park in their riverfront. So there's going to be mixed use development coming in. So restaurants and apartments and like entertainment district going in, and we're expecting people to come from all over the country to compete in these kayaking and river surfing competitions that are going to happen in West Carrollton, and we're really looking forward to that being completed.
Surf Ohio. Did you just tell me there's a surfing competition in the state of Ohio?
That's right. You can surf the river right here in Ohio. You don't even have to go out to California to surf.
All right. Tell me more. You got to describe this to me. How can you surf a river?
Well, the city of Dayton actually invested in some features right here at Riverscape Park. And we had a surf company pop up called Surf Ohio, and they have lessons and workshops, and they have everything that you need to get started. And you can go on their website and get signed up for all of the workshops they're having through the summer. But yes, there's 2 features in Dayton that you can surf on. And then there's going to be more when West Carrollton puts theirs in.
And I've seen videos of this. I've made my way out onto the Great Miami Riverway a couple of times, but for other things, I haven't actually surfed it yet. But I've seen the videos. The way that the water breaks, there's like a consistent wave that keeps going. You said that it's in 2 places in the river, and people do go out there and surf.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see them out there all the time. It's really exciting to watch.
That's amazing. You heard it here on the Down to Business podcast. You can surf in the state of Ohio, but that's not all. One of the things I have done on the Great Miami Riverway is spend the night on a floating tent. One of the only places in the entire world that you have floating tents, and that's right there in Troy, Ohio. Is that still happening?
Yes. So they're taking reservations right now. Really unique camping opportunity right here on the Great Miami Riverway. They start June 1st. And they book up pretty quick. So make sure that you get on there and get a reservation. But you get a little raft to put your stuff in, and you can raft out to your tent and stay the night on the river while it rocks you to sleep.
Yeah, we did that with my daughters. They were junior high, elementary school and junior high age when we went. They loved it because even though I think you're supposed to stay dry and stay in the kayak and in the tent, we did a little bit of swimming in the river too.
Why not? Well, and also while you're in Troy, they have a lot of really great restaurants and really unique shopping experiences. So you can make a whole day of shopping and dining in Troy and then spend the night in a floating tent.
Yeah, we did some of that too. We made our way downtown for a nice meal. This is helping paint a picture for our audience. It's a scenic river that travels across multiple counties, but also has lots of cities involved with it. We've mentioned a couple, Dayton and Piqua and Troy. What are some of the others that the Great Miami Riverway touches?
Yeah, so we have the city of Sydney. We have Piqua, Troy, Tip City, West Carrollton, Miamisburg, Franklin, Trenton, Monroe, Hamilton. And then we also have 4 park district partners in our coalition. That's 5 Rivers Metro Parks of Butler County, Miami County Park District, and the Great Parks of Hamilton County. And then the Miami Conservancy District, the Miami Valley Regional Planning Commission, Miami County Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Sydney Shelby County Visitors Bureau are partners as well.
That's a lot of groups. And how long have you been getting together? How long has the Great Miami Riverway as a coalition existed?
So this iteration of the Great Miami Riverway has existed since 2017. But before that, there was another iteration called the Great Corridor Association. Basically, a group of city leadership up and down the corridor realized that they had this really amazing asset in the river. And they got together and started thinking about how they could leverage that asset for placemaking initiatives, quality of life improvements, economic engine, basically for their communities. And they worked together under a 501c6 until it got to the point where they realized that they really needed to have like a more formalized brand and have someone run it for them. So they approached the Miami Conservancy District about being the administrative home for the Great Miami Riverway, because the Miami Conservancy District covers 9 counties, so the entire Great Miami watershed. And they just seemed like the logical kind of neutral party to run the coalition so that it wouldn't be a favorite, which wouldn't show favoritism to any one community, basically. So they pulled together their money, and they hired the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to do like an asset inventory. That was done, I believe it was done prior to 2017. And they decided that we really had something here. We had a real gem here that was being underutilized. And so we decided to formalize it. As I said, in 2017, the Great Corridor Association rebranded to the Great Miami Riverway, and they hired their first manager to run the coalition for them. I'm the third manager. My predecessor was a former Montgomery County commissioner who retired last year, and then I took over for him. And so since 2017, we've been the Great Miami Riverway, and it's been managed by Miami Conservancy District.
Well, I've loved what you've done here. Visitors don't necessarily recognize that they're crossing county lines or such. And what you've really done is got a coalition of groups who have rallied around one of the greatest assets that you have, the Great Miami River, to give it branding, marketing, and then major improvements that benefit both visitors and residents. Ginger, that's a lot of great information about the Great Miami Riverway. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, one thing that I really want people to know, what I think is really special about the Great Miami Riverway is how it represents both our past and our future. The river powered our region's industrial growth, and the flood protection system built after 1913 Great Flood was an engineering marvel of its time. Today, the same flood protection features managed by the Miami Conservancy District allow us to have trails and riverfront development in places that wouldn't be possible otherwise.
That's fantastic. It's a cross of a visitor, someplace visitors want to come. You've put things in place that residents want to do, and then you're protecting both the environment and the communities around the Great Miami Riverway. Ginger, one last question for you here. How do you measure your success?
We look at success through multiple lenses. There's quantitative measures like trail usage numbers, event attendance, like at the Riverway Summit that you just attended and spoke at, thank you, and economic impact data that I discussed earlier. And we track new development along the corridor, and we monitor tourism metrics. But some of the most meaningful measures are qualitative. So seeing our communities collaborate on projects that cross jurisdictional boundaries, watching residents rediscover their connection to the river, or helping new businesses leverage our river assets. But one of our key indicators is the growing recognition of the Riverway brand. When people start thinking of our communities as connected rather than separate entities, and when they plan multi-community trail rides or paddling trips, and when they see the river as an asset rather than a barrier, that's what we consider success. And we're also seeing success in the way communities are prioritizing river access and trail connections in their development plans. And that shows me that our work is helping shift how people think about and value the river corridor.
Yeah, and I've seen that brand in more and more places. All the cities that participate along the river are now happy to have that Great Miami Riverway brand. And tell the listeners both the website and social media if they want to go to learn more.
Yeah, so our website is www.greatmiamiriverway.com. And we're on Instagram and Facebook. You can find us under the Instagram handle GR Miami Riverway, and then on Facebook as Great Miami Riverway. And we're also on LinkedIn.
Well, Ginger Clark, manager of the Great Miami Riverway, thank you for joining us today to talk tourism and the business of tourism in the state of Ohio, the heart of it all.
Thanks so much for having me, Matt.
Well, that wraps up another insightful episode of Down to Business. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe for more captivating conversations with key players and influencers in Ohio's business scene. Don't forget to leave a review and share your thoughts. Till next time, stay informed, stay inspired, Let's keep Ohio's business community thriving. Thanks for joining us on Down to Business.